One of the things that struck me was that this is very somatic work, isn't it? This is, you're talking about rhythm and physical connection, very somatic. And the other thing that struck me too was that when we're talking about reconnection, if there's attachment trauma, is it true that people might have a easier to connect with an animal if there's been attachment trauma with other humans, obviously, then to reconnect with an animal may be less threatening? Would that be correct?
I think that's a really, I love that you brought all that up. That I think that's a real important piece of this.
Right.
So many clients that I work with, touch is very threatening. Connection in general, any level of intimacy, right, is extremely triggering. It's very, very threatening. And with the horse, what you said about the physical connection being so important, to me, that's a huge piece. Well, to us, it's a huge piece because they can feel that physical sense of connection with the horse. And then we help them start bringing that inside. This internal sense of connection is so important. But we get to do that in such a less threatening way because they just don't have the same pathways around a relationship with the horse, usually. Now, I mean, there are people who've had trauma with horses and then we're in a different ball game, but that's not our norm. That's not the norm.
Yeah, so because I've had a client who had a trauma with a horse, thrown from a horse, and we worked, but similarly, by returning to the horse, by returning to a variety of things, and reworking the somatic experience. Fundamentally, just very quickly, she of course had this sense of I nearly died when I was thrown by the horse. And we just reframed that to, wow, I was thrown and the horse and I ended up throwing each other and wow, we both survived. And she shifted from one to the other. It was wonderful. But yeah, these interplays with complex beings, human beings just make it even more complex and more difficult.
Well, and there are so many sort of ethical issues in this, right? Because we're talking about, we start to partner with horses. They don't give informed consent, right? So we really, it's really one of the things we're very passionate about is that we are ethical in the work we do with the horses. It has to be good for them. We have to really be helping them build connection. There should be sort of a, they're healing together, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a little bit of both. And so when it's not good for the horse, there has to be ways that and that's where this becomes so complex. It's like this huge learning curve to do therapy. And then you add in here, we're talking therapists have to become almost a horse trainer.
Well, if you want to know more about the science of psychotherapy, come across to our website, thescienceofpsychotherapy.com, and our podcast of the same name, and learn more about the science of you.